Hi Jamie, thanks so much for joining us from the
Hey
UK.
there.
How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, thank you. Raw, tender, chili in this insane uh, January we're having here.
Is it very cold there?
Yeah,
That's interesting because I was there in December and it was super, super mild, but I guess Britain's remembered that it's Britain and it's being chilly.
yeah. But it's really cool when it's snowing and you drive with the full beam lights on. It's like you're in hyperspace in a spaceship.
Well, that's a very, very good experience to have. And I would imagine very, very different to the weather that you experienced in Australia at Uplift before
Oh
Christmas.
yeah, gorgeous. Oh, let me kill the internet.
Which is why we're here. So I just wanted to chat to you about your experience at Uplift and just for you to share with everyone at this beautiful event. Kind of your experiences, your takeout. I was just wondering if you could just tell us overall what your experience of Uplift was as a punter and as someone who gave a talk on the main stage and ran some workshops.
It was really beautiful how it seemed to be full of people that really, really wanted to engage with the kinds of stuff that was going on. A lot of festivals, there's a lot of walkthrough, and people are just coming off to let off some steam or take drugs or just chill out. And there was a lot of lovely chilling out going on, but people were particularly engaged with the content, with the speakers, and all of the events were very well attended and very well engaged with. And it was really cool for, I think, all the different speakers and workshop leaders felt that they really made a deeper than usual connection with the people that they were working with and performing in front of. And so it had a good level of fulfillment about it.
Hmm. Awesome. And like, how would you describe Uplift as a festival as well? Like, because for me, it's quite different to anything that I've experienced. Like, how would you describe it to someone who's never been?
Well, it's a great spread of things which have all got the unifying theme of consciousness about them. Some people are about more eco sort of sustainable type stuff. Some people are more spiritual stuff. Some people are sort of more wacky. And but everybody's got this unifying theme about it, which is community and togetherness and this sense of building the new. You know, it's a form of activism that is the most, for me, important side of activism at the moment, which is about building the new, not complaining about the old. And there was no complaining going on. There was no like pointing fingers going on. It was all just like a rallying call for everyone that was interested to dip their toes into different things that they could get further excited and into. And that was really great. Everybody got something, and went away with a new inspiration, a new thing to check out.
Mm, awesome. Speaking of which, were there any key takeouts for you or any speakers that spoke to you particularly at the festival?
Tim McCartney was the great highlight for me and for many people at the festival. He's just so soulful and expresses his mission of the Twin Trail so beautifully. And so, yeah, any time in front of Tim McCartney is time well spent. And one of the things he talked about is that people come up and they go, "I want to make a difference. I want to do something for the world. What can I do?" And his whole thing is, if everyone just did one small act of kindness a day, the cumulative effect of that would be the tipping point. And a lot of people don't get involved until it's part of a big wave or part of a big protest or part of a big thing. And I don't think that the great changes we're hoping to manifest are necessarily going to come through the big thing. They're going to be the incremental steps of the accumulation of all the beautiful small things, because we are all a beautiful bunch of small things. When I was in Africa once, there was a guy in South Africa that was explaining to me the concept of Ubuntu out there, and he said that his grandmother, when he was a young lad, would get all the kids together to tell stories by the fire, and she would say to all the kids, "Go off and run and find a stick," and they would all run off and find a stick and bring one back, and she'd say, "Okay, snap the stick," and they'd all snap the stick and be really into it. Then she'd say, "Okay, now all run off and get another stick." They all run off and got another stick. And then she bundled all the sticks together, and she said, "Now try and snap that." And that was a great sort of lesson in action, that each individual stick, you know, when we're all together, is unstoppable, unbreakable, formidable.
Yes. Gosh, that is a really powerful story and metaphor. Wow, that's amazing. And speaking of the power of the collective and the power of coming together, I mean, we all experienced a very, very, very powerful message that was shared with us from the Indigenous elders of the world, and we're going to be sharing clips of it at Spread the Love tonight, just to spread that message further and wider to the people of Sydney. But again, I'm just really, really keen to hear about, you know, your message, when you know, how that you and your life and the action you've taken.
Not quite sure what you're asking me because you broke up a bit there. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, it was just the message from the Indigenous elders of the world that we received, UPLIFT, and just really keen to hear, you know, your experience of that message and what it means for you in your life.
Well, these guys, they come from a time where something doesn't work, they fix it, they don't just buy a new one. And they come from a time where community was much more important and much more respected. And it was just a joy to be in a space where things are the right way up. You know, in most of our culture, we've got it the wrong way up, where we're worshipping youth and we're ignoring the old people. And for them to be so fully respected and honored, and everyone really, they weren't just paying lip service, they were just like, wow, these guys are cool. They really opened themselves to get the real transmission of the wisdom. So it was beautiful to be a part of that. And once again, the elders, they keep us aligned. You know, they're very civilizing. They're very, you know, they bring out in us, when they are being themselves, they bring out that wise part in us. So, you know, the more time we can spend around elders, the better for us, selfishly, you know.
Mm. And was there anything that hit home to you about the message that they were sharing, or was it just confirmation of something that you already know and, you know, kind of galvanizing moving forwards in, you know, kind of what you're doing?
It was galvanizing, and it was just a beautiful further message of unity and further message of to dissolve this separatist everyman. It was a very feminine message, you know. The masculine, we all have the masculine and the feminine in us. It's not like a boy-girl thing. We have the masculine principle that wants to go out and do and make and penetrate, and the feminine that wants to listen and observe and be impacted. But the principal thing that is interesting for me about it in this case is that the masculine is all about me, and the feminine is all about us. So when we're coming from the feminine principle, we're not going to have a world where the old people aren't looked after, where the young people aren't educated, where people go unfed. That's just impossible. Like Robin Williams said, you know, he goes, a woman would never make it, there would be no wars if women were in charge. He said a woman would never make a bomb that killed you. You know, they'd make a bomb that made you feel bad for a while.
Yeah. And you know, again, all the conversations that we're having tonight are either with people who spoke at the event, like your beautiful self, or people that attended the event, because we just really want to share the essence of UPLIFT and the essence of the message that was shared with us. And so I was just wondering if, you know, is there like one big or key takeaway that you took from the festival, an aha moment, or maybe not even an aha moment, but just a kind of like, I'm going to do more of that, or I'm going to bring more of that into my life, or something that affected you? Yeah.
I don't know if it's like directly from any particular place in the festival, but it's a reminder that don't get too hooked into seeing the effect that you're having. Let's not be too narcissist about our activism. If we keep chipping away, you don't know the effect you're going to have by being you. You don't know that that song you released, even if it didn't get in the top 100 in the charts, you don't know that it didn't reach that one person that totally turned their life around. You don't know that just by being you singing in your car at the traffic lights that somebody saw you from their car and it stopped them from making a bad decision because it just snapped them out of their depression. You don't know what tiny thing you're going to do that has a big effect. So let's not get too hooked into the effect or seeing the effect that we're having. Let's just be concerned with how we're giving the gift. Small gifts, big gifts, medium gifts. If we just keep chipping away, and everybody keeps chipping away little bit by little bit, the wave will take.
Perfect. That's really awesome, Jamie, and it's really, really simple, because I think sometimes, you know, we can get overwhelmed by the task of, you know, saving the world or being better people, but yeah, it is that simple. And then just to kind of close, and this is a question I always ask guests of Spread the Love and our beautiful meetups, is you know, when you're on this path and you've made a decision that you want to unplug from the corporate world, or you want to unplug from a job that you've been doing or a business you've been running just to make money, and you want to live with more purpose and you want to make a difference, again, however big or small that is, you know, sometimes you can come up against the voice in your head that tells you all the reasons why you can't. And one of the main reasons I hold these events is just to bring everyone together, galvanize that spirit, turbocharge them. So I was just wondering if you had any advice or a tip or something you've learned along the way that you can share with people that will help them along their journey and their journey of service and being a thoroughly awesome human being.
Do it selfishly. Don't get hooked into that you're doing it for everybody else. Anything that I do that is service, like the bursary system we have of my workshops and everything, I do it because I want more people in the room, and I want a world, I want to be in a world where everybody's included, everyone doesn't have to pay more than they can afford, and there's still enough to go around. That's what I want selfishly, the world I want to live in, so I build it like that. But it's got to be selfish. Don't get hooked into some sort of worthiness. That kills it. You're not worthy. You're doing what you want. You know, let excitement be your only compass. It's only a life where you follow your excitement. It's better to live a life of 20 years following your excitement and being totally enriched and fulfilled than 40 years not following your excitement but making more money. On your deathbed, trust me, you're going to have wished you did the exciting version. So self-fulfillment is everything. And when we make a deep connection with someone, when we're really there for someone, when we have our gifts received, our generosity received, there is nothing more enriching than that. So do it selfishly.
Absolutely perfect. Thanks so much, Jamie. And before we go, is there anything else that you want to share with us, or you want to impart to our beautiful community?
Take up a Qigong practice, take up a breathing practice, because the courage that it's going to take to be able to step in some of these moments, to step into some of these, it's very easy for me to sit here and say it when you're saying goodbye to a big wage packet, or you're stepping out into something that maybe your family and friends don't quite get. There's going to be moments which are anxious or vulnerable, and those anxious, vulnerable, courageous moments, they hit our body in an impactful physical way, and they can create resistance. The more breath work you do, the more Qigong you do, the more you open up your system, whether it be a yoga practice or a Tai Chi practice, something very embodied. Don't try this without doing an embodiment practice, because if you can do an embodiment practice, it's going to mean that you're willing to be with the feelings that are uncomfortable. You're not buying into this culture which says always go for the comfortable, avoid the uncomfortable. The uncomfortable is full of riches and illuminations and vulnerabilities which lead to intimacy. So in order to be able to actually live that, you've got to be prepared, be willing to feel slightly more intense feelings, sensations, literally in your body. And if you do a breath practice of some kind or an embodiment practice, you're going to have a much, much better chance to not collapse when you get a big wave.
Awesome. That's super awesome. So I'm going to wrap things up, and thank you so much from myself and everyone at the Spread the Love community. Like I said, we'll be sharing this on Friday with everyone, and then we'll be sharing it through our social media channels as well for anyone in person. But just thank you so much for your time and your energy and your thoughts and feelings and knowledge and wisdom. Very, very cool.
Thanks for having me. Have a great Friday.
Thanks.
Bye, love.
Take care.